Come on now, fellas! We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go!
discussion.
Welcome into Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Chris Yow, and he's Mo Patton, and we are finally here. Technical difficulties and all. Sometimes when you have to break down the studio and reset the studio up, you make a few mistakes, and that's on me, and I apologize. But we are here now, and we are happy to be here. Whew. Man, that wasn't fun. You know, Mo, when you have issues like that, it's really hard to, like, take a step back and look and troubleshoot because you're in hurry mode. Mm-hmm. So we got it figured out, though.
Indeed.
It only took, 7 minutes, but we are here. So let's get into it since we are behind schedule now. Mm-hmm. And we'll get you yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Major League Baseball action from Tuesday night. It was Minnesota defeating Milwaukee 7-5. The Giants with an 11-3 win over the Cardinals. The Cubs also defeated the Pirates 11-3. Cincinnati 5, Kansas City 4. Padres 6, Guardians 3. Houston with a 6-1 win over the Nationals. And as you're probably aware, the Braves and the Tigers were rained out last night. Minor League Baseball action down at First Horizon Park. The Sounds opened their 6-game series against visiting Gwinnett with an 11-3 victory. And in NHL action, the Stanley Cup Final, Vegas announced their presence with authority in a 9-3 victory over Florida to win that series 4-1. Vegas Golden Knights are your NHL champions.
WNBA action last night. Indiana 87, Washington 66. It was Atlanta with a big win over New York. How about that? 86-79 the score there. Seattle defeats Phoenix 83-69. Currently ongoing in Major League Baseball, the Atlanta Braves lead in the bottom of the 6th, 7-5 over Detroit. It's the Minnesota Twins 4, Milwaukee 2 in the bottom of the 7th, and also in the bottom of the 7th, St. Louis leads San Francisco 5-3. Got 2-run games everywhere. How about that? Additionally, we have the Pirates at the Cubs tonight at 7:05. Royals hosting the Reds at 7:10. Also at 7:10, Washington is at Houston. And in the late game, Cleveland is at San Diego. That's an 8:40 first pitch. In minor league baseball action at First Horizon Park, 6:05 start tonight. Gwinnett is at Nashville to continue that set.
Did you note that the Braves and Tigers are playing 2 today?
I did not. They will play another after this one to make up for the one you just mentioned. And that is your rundown. Top story is brought to you by our friends at the Hoggly Woggly or the Piggly Wiggly. Your choice.
Pig.
Out at Neely's Mill in Columbia. Make sure to go see the fine folks at Piggly Wiggly at Neely's Mill in Columbia. Of course, they are, as voted by readers of Main Street Murray, the best grocery store in all of Murray County. They've got hand-cut meats every day and a lunch deli that is hard to beat. I'll be honest with you.
I was not aware.
I wasn't either. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because I now have another meat and 3 option.
Gonna have to go check that out.
So, top story today, Mo, will go to Birmingham. CBS Sports reporting that Major League Baseball and the city of Birmingham will team up to host the San Francisco Giants and the St. Louis Cardinals at Rickwood Field in 2024 as part of the Field of Dreams series. Yeah, I guess.
Long time coming.
This is huge news. One, because Major League Baseball and Rickwood Field, the city of Birmingham, have not had a great relationship as of late.
Now, when you say they've not had a great relationship, have they had a bad relationship, and if so, why?
So 2 or 3 years ago, Major League Baseball had planned to do one of their camps and build some fields around in that area, and the city and citizens in and around the area balked pretty hard for whatever reason. I don't know why. And
so Major
when
League
that-
Baseball just threw up their hands.
well, when the deal went sideways, Major League Baseball put out a statement that said the timing is not right and quite frankly may never be. So they were pretty tough on that one. And so I'm a little surprised that Rick Wood is involved in this, but there's no other, I mean, I guess there are other options, but there's no better option for this outside of the actual Field of Dreams site to play than Rick Wood Field, the oldest professional ballpark in America.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a no-brainer, and I would love to know more about the initial issue between the city and MLB. And, you know, kudos to whoever was able to get things repaired to get this event scheduled, because, I mean, it just kind of feels like a no-brainer to me, given Rick Wood's history and its place in the history
Baseball.
of professional baseball. You know, so I'm glad to see this, and you know, like I said, it's unfortunate to me that it's taken so long.
2019, the academy, the Urban Youth Academy, was set to build $10 million complex at George Ward Park. And that's now in Vero Beach, Florida.
Well,
So
sounds like somebody fumbled the bag.
I would think so. I would certainly think so. But you know, this is interesting because obviously Rick Wood Field, again, the oldest professional ballpark in the country, was once home to Willie Mays, which is why the Giants would be in this game. You know, and when you're talking about old school baseball, Giants and Cardinals, kind of hard to beat those two.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I feel like I get the Willie Mays aspect of it. He played at Rick Wood, but it feels like a game that the Braves should be in, just from a regional standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you could have the Boston Braves or whatever, and I'll be interested to see if they actually go Major League Baseball throwbacks or if they go Negro League throwbacks.
Is it a game or is it a weekend?
It's a game,
One?
I believe. That's a good question.
Unfortunate.
It could be a weekend. I don't know. It would be hard. I mean, you would think it would be hard to play a game in Birmingham. I guess they would have the day off to travel back to maybe St. Louis.
St. Louis, yeah.
But still, I think it is a really solid move by everyone involved if this can go down. And if you've not been to the Rickwood Classic, you should absolutely do that. It's kind of hard to get to from up here because, well, it's on a Wednesday usually. And matter of fact, it may be is it April? Typically, I think this past, I think it was this past year, or this year it was in April. Sometimes it's in June. I know the last time I went, it was June and it was hot. But one of the cool parts about Rickwood Field is the media has to sit on the roof.
You said one of the cool things about it?
Oh yeah, it's cool. It's not. I mean, it's not scary. It's not hard to, It's really neat. Now, it's hot, but it is interesting. So, unique, maybe not cool, but unique.
I'm not a heights guy.
It's really not that high up. I promise you, it's not. I was up there, I think, as a 16, 17-year-old kid. Bevel State played a game out there against, like, Miles College's JV. Mm-hmm. And I got to go on the roof, and that was really neat. So it's really not that high up. But, again, I was 16, 17 and fearless, so things may be different now.
Go.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was invincible those days. So, but anyway, looking forward to more information coming out about that. That's really all we have is that and this is just a report. This isn't even, it's not been announced by Major League Baseball. It hasn't been announced by Rickwood Field, but could be fun next year.
Absolutely.
Other top story of note, Peter Laviolette has a new gig. He will now be at the helm of his 5th Metropolitan Division squad.
Oh, wow.
As he has now taken over for Gerard Gallant of the New York Rangers, who was let go after losing to New Jersey in the playoffs. Two things you can't do in New York. That's tell them pizza's bad and lose to New Jersey. You can't do either of those two things.
Yes.
And clearly losing to New Jersey was the straw that broke the camel's back for Gallant, who led the team to the Eastern Conference Finals just this season before the one that ended last night. It's kind of hard to say last season now.
21-22 season.
Yeah, you gotta specify now because last season is now yesterday and prior. Yeah. So, but hey, great for Peter. I think he's a fantastic coach, and he's gonna be just fine. And the Rangers got a good one.
Glad to see him back at the top, on somebody's bench. So, yeah.
Well, no doubt. How did the Braves score run number 8? No.
MH2.
Another one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 3 for 3 today with three RBIs.
A double and a homer. Yep.
But
Jesse Chavez took a shot to the lower left leg and had to be helped off the field. He was the first guy out of the bullpen after Spencer Strider's less than stellar effort that got him through 5. So
Kirby Yates, 1 inning pitch, 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, he came in.
No hits, no earned
behind.
runs, no walks. We'll take it.
Today especially.
Any day is we'll take that from Yates.
But, especially today, given the doubleheader, and you don't know how many innings you're going to have to cover. You've got A.J. Smith-Shawver, and we've got Braves coming up later in the show. But you've got A.J. Smith-Shawver starting the second game.
No, Dylan Dodd is starting the second game. Smith-Shawver will start tomorrow. That is per Brian Snicker's report on Braves Radio Network just before the game. So, Dodd was set to go today for Gwinnett, by the way. So I don't know who Gwinnett's going to throw tonight, but it won't be Dylan Dodd because he's the 26th man.
I guess.
Is that how many it is on doubleheader day?
I believe
they
so.
Get the 26th. So, yeah. So Dylan's going to throw game 2. And that's worse than Shawver, by the way.
Either way, you don't know how many innings this bullpen is going to have to cover today.
Probably more with Dodd than Shawver. That's the problem. So, it's always good when you can get Kirby Yates. Maybe he can get you an extra one. I don't know. We'll see. But nonetheless, we will talk Braves. Hopefully the game will be over by the time we get to Braves Chatter, and we can dissect it then. But now we take our first break of the day. We come back with Heather Williams, and she will join us talking about NASCAR. Might be a boring segment as far as NASCAR goes. We'll have to find the excitement somewhere else because there's no race this weekend. So.
Yeah, but there's a big race
in 2
following
weeks.
Weekend.
Yeah, no question. So Heather will join us right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint in the Lee Company studio. We are glad to be with you guys on this Wednesday. We have Chip Walters coming up, as it's not Tuesday, but always good when we can get him on to talk a little hashtag True Blue MTSU. But first, it is Wednesday, which means we are talking with Heather Williams, talking a little NASCAR. We go to Heather now. How are you?
Doing well, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
If you had asked us that 20 minutes ago, we'd have had a different answer than we do right now. But we are doing well. Thank you. Appreciate you taking some time with us this Wednesday. Off week this week, so you kind of get to catch your breath, I guess, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Only off week of the year, by the way. I mean, can you imagine having a job where you go from February to November and you have one off week? Because that's NASCAR right now.
Actually,
yeah,
I can.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know better than us.
Fair.
Even.
Fair. But I kind of was more speaking the collective view of the listeners, not just necessarily us, because we definitely know how that is. But yeah, the only off week, drivers, scatter and they're out doing their things. But that doesn't mean that there is not news being made or things happening in the NASCAR world, because that, much like football, happens every day of the year.
Never rests.
No.
Yeah. Truex with a big win out at Sonoma this past weekend. Expected, unexpected?
Expected. I mean, I talked about last week in our show and some other places about how he's sneaky good at Sonoma, and he was a guy that I wouldn't have. He wasn't who I was picking, but he was a guy that I definitely would not have been surprised to see win, and then he won. He's an underrated road course driver, and he's particularly good at Sonoma. I believe this is his third or fourth win out in Sonoma. Fourth. And so, yeah, I mean, not surprised at all. But what's really been impressive is just how much better this team is last year. And I think that the struggles for the 19 car were a little bit exaggerated because he would have been one of the top 16 drivers last year in traditional points. But because there were so many different winners, he didn't make the playoffs because he didn't have a win. But I think when the regular season ended, he was top 10 in points last year. So he did not have a bad season last year. He just didn't make the playoffs because there were so many odd winners. He's winning now, and that team seems to be, in a really good place. And I would say at the break, he and the two Kyles, William Byron a little bit less so, even though he's leading the playoff standings. But I definitely think Truex and the two Kyles are probably your favorites for the championship at this point in the season.
Second win of the season. He trails only Jeff Gordon at Sonoma with that fourth win. Gordon won 5. And like you said, did not win a race last year. So a little bit of a bounce back season already here for Truex.
Yeah, and he won the non-points paying race at the beginning of the year out of the Coliseum. So he's won 3 times, even though just 2 points races. So yeah, the 19 car, it's funny because it's like from week to week, who's the top Toyota? Well, right now it's definitely Truex. But I think, with only 6 drivers and the camp being so deep and so strong, I mean, that could change in 2 weeks. Denny Hamlin could get hot, win the next 3 races. All of a sudden, he's the top Toyota guy. So, but right now, it definitely looks like Truex is the man to beat.
Now they're off this week, Heather. Is this the halfway point of the season, or how many races have there been? How many are there to go? I guess I don't.
So it's technically not the halfway point, but everybody just kind of treats it as the halfway point.
Kind of like All-Star game.
Yeah, kind of like the All-Star break. Yeah. This is when NBC, when they come back, will take over the broadcast for the rest of the year. So, I mean, we just call it the halfway point.
No,
even though,
and that's fine. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Among many things about this sport.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
so.
like Chris said, it's much like the All-Star break. It's the break. So that's what teams will really evaluate. Plus, once it starts getting hot, the tracks and the way the cars perform are different. So it's almost like a different season at this point too when they get back to the track. So yeah, it's just a good breaking point. And it used to be different because there used to be multiple weeks off. So really, for the longest time, everybody considered the summer Daytona race as the halfway point of the season, although that was past halfway the other way. But they don't race in Daytona on July 4th anymore. So this break is now kind of considered that.
Gotcha.
Obviously, road courses are unique in of itself, but going back to no stages really was an attempt to make this a more entertaining and give it some drama, but not much drama in the last few laps. Obviously, Truex pretty well dominated especially after that caution that sent Hamlin into the wall. Were you surprised that Chase Elliott was not able to hold off Martin Truex late, or was it just simply because he had fresher tires and had a better car?
All of the above. I mean, the 9 cars really, and I talked about this last week, but they're not really performing at the level that they have the last few years. And I think a lot of that is just because of the consistency of who's been in the car, right? They've had 3 different drivers in the car, so it's really hard to get into a rhythm and get a consistency. But then Truex really was just that much better than everybody else. And then on fresher tires, forget about it. I mean, he's gone. So, yeah, all of the above on that. I was a little bit surprised that the elimination of the stage breaks didn't have the desired outcome on the track, but I was listening to a man that's much smarter than I am when it comes to racing, Larry Mack, on the way into work today, and he attributed that to how worn the surface is, and he said, really, if you want to improve the racing on the road courses, specifically Sonoma, you're going to have to use the ugly R word, and that's repave. And so I don't know if that's anywhere in the near future for Sonoma, but that was Larry Mack's suggestion on how to fix the road courses specifically.
It's interesting. You know, it really is one of the more important factors because, you know, we talked about the next gen car and how they still haven't figured out the short track package. If road course races aren't exciting either, it could be a problem.
Yeah, no, it's a huge problem right now. And, you know, one of the biggest things that's come out of this week, this off week, and I know he wasn't meaning to make headlines, but it's caused quite a stir here in the Bristol part of the area, is Jordan Bianchi of The Athletic did a mailbag segment about the schedule, and it started a lot of scuttlebutt about Bristol losing a race, which, you know, obviously around here would be a huge deal, but I don't necessarily think that would be good for the sport. I don't think that we throw out the baby with the bathwater. Bristol has traditionally been one of the best races on the schedule. Now, does the dirt need to go? Absolutely. Keep the dirt out on 394 highway where they store it and keep it there forever. But Bristol losing a spring race to, and his summation was that it could possibly go to North Wilkesboro, which was an awful race, by the way. I mean, it was great atmosphere. It was cool to be back there, but the racing was terrible. I think that would be a mistake. But
Well,
I mean,
and here, Heather, how long can you get by with, you know, the nostalgia and the atmosphere, and not put a great race on the track?
Well, that's why they left in the mid-90s, right?
well, I mean, there was a little bit more than that. There was, you know, ownership in NASCAR, and they didn't really have a date and all that kind of stuff. I mean, attendance was always good at North Wilkesboro. Of course, North Wilkesboro, they always get to live in that nostalgia because it wasn't around by the time attendance started dipping at other tracks. You know, when the recession came in 2008 and everything, and all sports started dipping, Wilkesboro had been shuttered for 10 years at that point. So who really knows what the reaction would be with the attendance? But I think that NASCAR fans are funny because they complain about boring races, and then now we want to go back to North Wilkesboro.
It kind of sounds like North Wilkesboro is like the Wrigley Field, maybe, of NASCAR.
I don't even know. I mean, I would really think that Darlington is more the Wrigley Field of NASCAR. I mean, I think it's more like maybe, I don't know, the old Tiger Stadium or something. I mean, it's old, it's nostalgic, it's cool, but it was never considered the crown jewel, I don't think. I wasn't a fan in the 90s, but people that were around it probably know better than me. But it's just become more, it's a ghost. Austin Dillon called it a ghost. And because it was dead for so long, it just had more reverence in people's heart than actually what it performed when we brought it back to life.
That's interesting because Yow, you know, being a generation younger than me, basically talks a lot about how everybody, you know, nostalgia is such a big thing for a lot of folks these days. And it drives a lot, you know, in terms of reboots of TV series and movies and different things like that. And I wonder if that's not at play here as well.
I mean, yes, it is. And so everything is better in our memories, right? I mean, we talk about the good old days of the 80s, for instance, Mo being basically close to this, my generation. People talk about, but were they that great? I mean, really, were they that great? Would we really want to go back to not having a navigation and a computer basically in your pocket so that if you get lost, you're never really lost, and a portable music player and a telephone at your hands at all times?
All in the same device.
Right. Do we really want to go back to that? I mean, no. Do we really want to go back to afros and fluorescent clothing and all the ridiculous things that we did in the 80s?
Are we not there yet? Because, I mean, I'm seeing it some places is all I'm saying.
A little bit, but not. It's like 2.0. It's better.
It is a little better. I mean,
better.
bell bottoms and country music are coming back, clearly. So, I mean,
But
that means we got another 5 years before 80s come back.
the good old days are always way better in our head. And as much as people, I think people in the sport miss the personalities more than they miss the racing. I mean, let's break it down to the nitty gritty. The racing was not good. Guys winning by 5 laps, lap in the field, 2 cars on the lead lap, 5 cars. That's terrible. When you show up to the race, I don't care who your driver is. Your driver could be BJ McLeod. And if the stars align correctly, BJ McLeod could end up in the top 5 on any track now, not just the super speedways, on a road course, on whatever, a short course, maybe not like Kansas, but a lot of places he could end up in the top 5 if the stars align. That wasn't the case for, say, Lake Speed back in the 90s. It just wasn't. So the racing is way, way better.
Heather Williams with WCYB out of Bristol joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, as she typically does on Wednesdays, talking a little NASCAR. Heather, with his win at Sonoma, Martin Truex tops the point standings heading into the off week. Byron second, Blaney and Chastain tied for third, Kevin Harvick fifth. Anything jump out at you as you look at those point standings, particularly at the top?
Well, I don't think that anyone would have had those 5 at the top, and those are the traditional point standings. Of course, they get reshuffled when the playoffs start, where playoff points are bonus points. So I think in that category, Byron and Truex were actually flipped, and I think Chastain's a little bit further down because he doesn't have a win. But Chastain's really the only one of those 4 names that you mentioned going into the season that people would have had in the top 5. So there's been a lot of unpredictability. I think I'm going to be watching closest of that group, William Byron, because the rest of those guys have been there before. And Byron is a guy who traditionally has an outstanding first half of the season and then falls off in the second half of the season and then can't get out of his own way in the playoffs and usually doesn't make it out of the first or second round. So I'll be interested to see, if especially since the 48 and the 9 have had their issues, although Bowman is hanging on to that 16th playoff spot despite missing a number of races with a broken back. He is still hanging on to that at this point. But those 2 teams have had their issues. I'll be interested to see if the 24 can pick up that kind of mantle along with the 5 for Hendrick Motorsports and sustain that success throughout the summer and into the playoffs. I think that's going to be something to really keep your eye on in the second half of the season when it comes to William Byron.
So what are we doing this week? Just hanging out, resting, getting ready to come to Music City? Are some teams coming here yet?
I think there might be some people that show up early just because they like hanging out in Nashville. I think a lot of the guys went and found the beach this weekend, just based on what I've seen on Twitter and Instagram. I think I did an interview today. Yeah, some golf. I did an interview today with Austin Dillon. He was getting ready to hit the pool with his, I think he's 2.5 or 3-year-old son, Ace. So, I mean, a lot of poolside, beachside events going on with NASCAR drivers. I know Bubba tweeted he was on the beach. Todd Gilliland was playing golf on the beach. So that's what's going on for most drivers this week. And then they'll start probably Monday, full steam ahead for Nashville.
I'm not mad at him.
No. Good call by most of those folks. So no wonder
looking for a beach to get on myself. So.
No wonder the folks at Trackhouse haven't gotten back to me. They're on vacation.
Oh yeah, I mean this is it. This is their. I mean, not just like no, time off, like no weekends till the end of the season. Now we're it's on till the end of November. It's racing every weekend. So yeah, you probably won't. I was really surprised that Austin Dillon did this event, albeit a phone event, today, because you usually can't find a driver this week.
It's understandable. Look, I'm, again, not mad at him at all. That being said, what are you going to be doing? What do you focus on when you have a weekend off like this?
Getting clothes washed.
Yeah.
Laundry. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Recovery, a lot of recovery just from the, we'll still have our our weekly show tomorrow. We tape that, and I'll still have the podcast. Austin, obviously, he's the only guy that's around. He'll be the guest this week on the podcast. But we also had the NHRA here in town last weekend.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was, pretty much racing all weekend, like all the time. And they had 2 races here because the week before the New England Nationals was rained out. So we had 2 races here in Bristol last week for NHRA. So, just catching my breath a little bit between all that and state championships in Virginia, which also wrapped up on Saturday. Yes, we were still playing high school sports all the way till last Saturday.
They probably can't play as early as we do here.
The season starts about the same time.
Interesting.
It starts a week after basketball, which is a week after Virginia. After Tennessee starts. It just lasts forever.
Oh, they take their cues from the NBA playoffs, clearly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Heather, as always, we appreciate it. Oh, go ahead.
When will you be arriving in town, Heather?
Yeah.
Not coming to Nashville, unfortunately.
What?
Yeah. I know.
That's weird.
I'm sad.
Understandably.
That's suspicious.
We're sad.
Yeah, I'm sad. Just got too much going on. But I'll be there in spirit.
That's suspicious.
All right. Well, we will.
If you got a spare bedroom, I could always drive up overnight and come up there and, crash.
I do, in fact, have a spare bedroom. So, hey, matter of fact, we just fixed it up yesterday. But I will not be in town, so you can have the house to yourself.
Woo! Party at Yow's house.
Party at my house. There you go.
But you will be available next Wednesday, though.
Yeah. I'll be available.
Okay. All right.
We're just working on. We just got me just taking over the sports department here. Basically, just working on some stuff to get ready for high school. So I don't have time to go play NASCAR this week.
We understand.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
We will be tapping into your expertise next week as we head into. Everybody calls it Nashville. It's Gladeville.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be getting with you again. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that track. And I think fans are gonna see a better. Not that the experience wasn't always great there, but I think they're just going to see some enhancements and some amenities now that Speedway Motorsports has taken over. That's going to make it feel more like if they were at Bristol or Atlanta or those kinds of tracks. I think fans will really enjoy it.
They literally just want to be able to park and get out. That's it.
Well, that's every driver. It's every fan at every track. So let me know.
That's all they want. But, we haven't quite figured that one out yet. Hopefully one day. But, Heather, as always, we appreciate it. Look forward to next week.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks, Heather.
All right. We take a break. When we come back, Braves have extended their lead because Michael Harris can't stop hitting. Wow.
We don't want him to stop hitting.
No, we can't. No, we don't. Yeah. Super exciting stuff. So that and a little bit of SEC schedule leaking. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Barn and Joint. We'll be right back after this.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
Vroom, vroom, time for the WACKY Roofing 200, and it is going to be June 23rd out at the Nashville Super Speedway. And we partnered up all of us here at Main Street Media TV, and we have joined with Rackley Roofing to send you. Yep, what you got to do to win? All you got to do is go to your favorite Main Street Media website, look for the Enter to Win banner, click there, and you're in. Like Flynn. Isn't that cool? Main Street Media TV and Rackley Roofing sending you to the races.
There is nothing better than drinking an ice-cold beverage while taking in a Nashville Sounds baseball game. Hi, I'm Stephanie Miller with Mornings on Main Street. The Nashville Sounds and Main Street Media Television have teamed up to promote Sunday Family Fun Day here at First Horizon Park, each Sunday home game. Just go to your favorite Main Street Media website and click on Sounds Main Street Media Day banner to register to win free tickets. And then we'll see you here at the ballpark.
June 14th, 1952, after purchasing his rights from the Indianapolis Clowns of the Negro Leagues for $10,000. It's a lot of money in 52, by the way. The Milwaukee Braves signed 18-year-old Hank Aaron and assigned him to Eau Claire, Wisconsin of the Class C Northern League, not far from where one Jody K. Smith was born, by the way.
Eau Claire.
Yep. The young second baseman batted .336 with 9 home runs in 87 games and was named the league's Rookie of the Year. That was this day in Braves history.
How about that?
87 games, 9 homers.
That's about right.
Yeah. I mean, that should have alerted somebody that, hey, kind of got something here. And .336.
336 is not surprising.
Well, I mean, it kind of goes back to that stat that I saw it again on Twitter here about 10 days or so ago that I think blows every baseball fan's mind when they hear it. You take away all 755 of Hank Aaron's home runs and he'd still have more than 3,000 career hits.
It's a good one.
That's pretty amazing.
So, does Marcell Ozuna need to have a conversation with some other folks?
He needs to have a conversation with a certain first baseman, apparently.
I mean, I'd just take it with all of them. If that's what's going. I mean, if a conversation with Marcell Ozuna turns into 4 for 4 with 4 RBIs and
a double and a home run,
a home run, then I wish you'd come talk to me. A little motivation.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Michael Harris II has been absolutely insane today.
And for like the past week or so, I think that conversation took place one day last week. I'm not sure when it was, when Marcell Ozuna told Michael Harris II that he was the best center fielder in baseball.
So act like it.
And go play like it.
And
like,
he has.
Cool.
Oh, my bad. I didn't realize I needed to do that, I guess. I don't know. And it's worked out. So
whatever works, yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
The heart of the order, 2 through 5 today, 0 hits in 14 ABs.
They're saving them for the second game.
They must be.
They were down 4-0 early on the strength of 3 Detroit Tiger home runs, as again, Spencer Strider, not one of his better starts. But what's crazy is, even as shaky as he has been at times this year, the Braves coming into this game today, have won 11 of his 13 starts.
Well, it's funny because
including that 13-10 deal against the Mets last week.
Did you happen to see after Friday's game that Charlie Morton was or is now 5-6, 11 decisions? 11 decisions. Nobody else on the team has more than like 6.
That's wild.
That blew my mind. I was like, that can't be right. That has to be a typo. Because like Elder was like 4-0 going in. And I'm like, 11 decisions? How?
Well, and I'd be interested to know what the Braves' record is in Elder starts, because I think the bullpen, as good as it has been, I think Elder's been in a lot of close ball games, and I think the bullpen has probably put him in a no-decision situation despite some of his performances.
Yeah.
Because how many starts does he have? Is that what you're looking up?
I was trying, but I don't know.
Yeah.
He's started 9, but he's played in 10. I know that was last year. I'm sorry. 13 starts.
13 starts, and he's 4-0?
4-1 now after Friday.
That's right. Yeah.
Or not Friday, after Washington.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So he's 4-1 in 13 starts.
4-1 in 13
8
starts.
no decisions.
8. It's so weird.
That is weird.
But I thought, okay, sure, whatever.
That's really odd.
I thought so too.
I mean, the more you think about it, the odder it is.
And it's not just him. It's like it's like every pitcher on the team. It's
and a lot of that is because the Braves have had a lot of late comebacks.
Exactly.
So they've gotten a lot of starters off the hook.
Unfortunately, they're not getting the
wins don't mean anything, though, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, but Strider 6-2, and Mentor is 3-5. Mentor is 3-5. Mentor has the second most decisions on the team,
behind Charlie.
Behind Charlie Morton. Oh, and he has 9 saves in this 3-5.
So he's got
on top
8
of
decisions
everything else.
and 9 saves.
That's insane.
That is crazy. But again, the Braves have decided a lot of games late.
I'm just this is insane to me. I don't. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting that he had 11 decisions in 13 starts. Anyway, the Braves right now
just gave up another run and they lead 10-6.
Maybe it's a good thing that
because Nick Anderson is pitching in a non-save situation
or hold, and they got 2 on with 2 out. Okay, 2 on, 2 out
in the 8th. Yes, bottom of the 8th.
A wild pitch. Jeez. Okay, well, hopefully the Braves can hold on unlike they did
We're going to go down to the wire yet again
on Monday. It's anyway. We'll get into more Braves tomorrow once both of these games are over, and we can dive in. But
as we get ready for Colorado,
yeah, which you would think would be great, but apparently not. Tonight at 6:00, the SEC will announce its football schedule for 2024.
Hold up, because wait a minute. Are they announcing the schedule, or are they announcing opponents?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
Because I saw something on Twitter, scrolling through Twitter as we are wont to do, yesterday, and it seems as though they're just announcing who you're playing. doesn't seem they're necessarily announcing when.
It is my understanding per Peter Burns that they are announcing home and away.
But they're still not announcing dates.
But dates may be, dates may not be completely decided. Although I don't know why you wouldn't be able to decide them.
I don't know why you wouldn't be able to announce them, but I mean, okay, so you're telling me Tennessee's going to play Florida. Okay. You're not telling me when. So I don't know if I'm trying to get there in September or November.
Yeah, and I think that particular game would be interesting to know. Is it September or November? Because
for a lot of reasons.
Mainly, they've not played but twice after September that I can ever remember.
And one of those was in 2001.
One of those was in 2001. The last one was in COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tennessee won both of them.
They won in 2001, I believe.
Did they win in 2020? I don't remember. Yeah. But still, I mean.
But I mean, if you're making this big event of the announcement, it would seem you would announce all the information. But yeah,
that's a good question.
If you can tease folks, why not?
What? Now, one thing I did hear was that every team would play either Texas or Oklahoma in 2024.
Well, that makes sense.
It does. Now, home or away hasn't.
Well, and who plays who? I mean.
Yeah, you still don't know. But
who does Vanderbilt get?
There's that.
I think they'd rather play Texas.
Maybe. I don't know, man. Brent Venables is still up in the air.
Yeah, but I think historically, last 5 years or so, I think you'd rather play Texas.
Sure. But they've looked really good against SEC opponents, LSU and Alabama, in the last 2 years, so I don't know. Go figure there. Of course, it's been early in the season. So I'll be interested to see what it looks like. I mean, obviously, if we don't get dates, that'll be unfortunate.
It will be unfortunate.
But
I mean, we're talking about for now. Are we talking about for this season or for 24? Which schedule?
Next year.
Okay, this is the 24 schedule.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
all right.
This year's schedule is already complete because
Okay.
Texas and Oklahoma don't exist right now.
That's all right. I get a little confused, but still, I mean, I think people would like to know, as far out as possible, I guess.
I would like to know, but that's just me.
Braves just got out of a bases loaded 2-out situation, take a 10-6 lead into the top of the ninth.
Non-safe situation. Here comes Raziel Iglesias to screw it up.
Well, you can't necessarily blame Raziel Iglesias for that. He's just doing what he's told.
God, I don't want to think about it. Please, God, send anybody out there except Raziel Iglesias.
You brought it up.
Please, anybody. Snit, if you're listening. Just anybody but.
If Snip were listening to us, well,
he would not be happy.
No.
Let's take a break. Chip Walters standing by.
Patiently.
MTSU. So stick around. Main Street Sports Day presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joints. Back to the Lee Company studio in just a moment. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Welcome back to Today's Better Health. I'm Colleen Barton, and I'm here with Dr. Gil Kentoff and Dr. Wendy Toohey, and we're talking about the latest treatments in back and neck pain.
Many people, Colleen, come to see us with neck and back pain, and they develop tingling and numbness down the arm or lower back pain that develops into sciatica shooting down their leg. And for these patients, we have an advanced treatment technology, non-surgical decompression therapy that we really introduced to this area. It separates the vertebrae, creates a suction to allow fluids and nutrients back in to heal the disc naturally, relieving pressure on the nerve and on the joint. It's an amazing treatment.
We've been helping patients like this for the last 30 years, helping them get back to work, get back to their family, get back to the life they want to live.
I mean, it really is amazing. Technology helping us to live pain-free and better lives.
Right.
And I bet you have a special offer.
The first 25 callers will receive an examination, x-rays, review of our findings, and their first treatment, all for $39.
Call 615-551-3897 today to receive this special offer.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back to Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton here with you on this Wednesday. It's not Tuesday, but it's going to feel like Tuesday in just a minute. And as we were talking about SEC schedules, Mo, two games we won't have to worry about on the SEC schedule is in 2023. We know that Middle Tennessee State will be playing in Tuscaloosa and in Como as they'll take on the Tide and the Tigers of Missouri. And
Tide and Tigers.
Yeah, I know,
you know
right?
that's
why I had to, that's why after I said that I said of Missouri because I had to qualify.
Well, I mean there was a little hole in the wall not far from Legion Field. It's
Yeah,
actually where I watched Tennessee Arkansas back in '98. Tide and Tigers.
Oh
Pretty
yeah,
good ribs.
I know it well. Know it well.
Anyway,
and can't eat there anymore, but we'll go to Chip Walters, who will be at both of those.
Both, yes.
As he is the voice of the Blue Raiders. Chip, what's up, man?
I just getting through summer. Had a fun night out at the Sounds last night. Went and saw them play, and beautiful night. It was MTSU night, True Blue night at First Horizon Park, and perfect weather. I was there with Mr. Dick Palmer and Wayne Gross, so fellowship, and had one of the best ballpark hot dogs I've ever had last night. So kudos to the folks at First Horizon for that.
I should have come out there for that, but I was originally not planning to be available last night because I thought I had a game to cover. Which,
Alas.
as it turned out, alas, and alack, yes, and I did not regroup in a timely enough fashion to make that trip down to First Horizon. That's unfortunate, but
I was happy to see you last Friday under the circumstances that we saw each other. But, boy, what a gathering of MTSU legends on Friday.
Yeah. You weren't really surprised at the number of people that turned out for that memorial gathering for Matt Riley, and I was glad that I was able to get over there. But, yeah, just as I heard somebody say, it was just an indication of how well thought of and how well loved Matt Riley was by that community, and it was great to see.
Yeah, it was, and great to see his whole family was there, including, you think about great football playing families from across this state. The Riley family's pretty strong. With Matt played at Middle, and Rocky and both brothers played at Tennessee. Spencer was probably one of the best linemen to ever play there, and he's now the head coach at Jefferson County, which is all of the Riley boys' alma mater there in Jeff City.
I did not realize that Spencer was the head coach over there. That's
what he told me on Friday. So yeah, they got a good one with him.
No doubt. Speaking of football, Chip, saw a post, and I'm looking at a release here. You guys put this down on your calendar. MTSU will host Eastern Michigan on September 6, 2031, and will go to Ypsilanti, Michigan on September 18th, 2032. So,
I hope I'm not rearranging my sock drawer that day. So I have to check my calendar to make sure.
Well, I'm just hoping you're still in the booth.
That would be fine with me. Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be the first ever football meeting between Middle Tennessee and Eastern Michigan. And it's a little ironic, I guess, when you think about all of the discussions that took place about potential conference realignment and that kind of thing, and Eastern Michigan of the MAC and Middle not. So it's an interesting
it is.
matchup.
And Eastern Michigan is a program that has really turned its fortunes around the last few years. They won 9 games a year ago and won the Idaho Potato Bowl. They're right there. I mean, they're 5 miles from Ann Arbor and have to fight in that shadow as well. So it will be, I'm trying to think for sure, this will be the first trip to a MAC stadium since Bowling Green, I think, a few years ago. So, which that day it rained so much at that game in Bowling Green, Ohio, that the turf floated. The water got between the turf and the base, and the turf floated. It was crazy. And but Middle won that one handily, and it'd be nice to pick up a couple of wins against Eastern Michigan. But yeah, that was one. I think Alabama and Michigan and Missouri are a little higher on Stock's priority list right now. Which, by the way, the football team has gone. They had a full week of camps. They've had everything from the kicking and their specialty camp. They've had a JUCO transfer camp. They've had a skill camp with wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks. And they've also had a big man camp. And today it's the kids camp. And after today, the coaches get 4 weeks of not having to get on the road recruiting. And this is the time that they'll get to go be with their families. And then they'll come back, in a couple of weeks. They'll be back in the office, but they'll be planning, getting ready for fall camp, because it's about between 75 and 80 days away from the opening game.
Could have done without you putting that number.
That reminder, I know, killing me.
Yeah,
and the other thing that is a reminder that we're getting close is they announced the dates today for the upcoming Blue Raider Blitz, and that will be starts on July 11th in Nashville at the Jackalope Brewery.
Oh, okay.
And,
so there are locations, because what I'm looking at it's just got cities, doesn't have
correct.
spots.
The only thing I don't know any of the other locations but that one. So I do know that one, and then Smyrna on July 12th, 2 of them on July 13th, one at lunchtime in Franklin, one at happy hour in Manchester, Friday afternoon on the 14th in Murfreesboro, and Tuesday the 18th in Shelbyville. So they're taking a little bit of a different format, and most all of them are going to be after work gatherings at those spots. And here in the next week or so, we'll certainly have all the locations. But I do know for a fact the one in Nashville is at Jackalope Brewery.
Interesting.
So
good knowledge, and again, we will keep you all informed as we know more about those, so you can save those dates in addition to those Eastern Michigan games.
That's right.
These are a little bit closer in time.
Yeah, Chip.
Yeah.
Mr. Akintola closes his career as a 2-time All-American.
Pretty strong. I mean, you look at what he did. He ended up finishing 13th and 16th, I think, in the 2 events. He was in 13th in the 100-meter with a time of 10.07 for 100 meters. That's still getting down the road pretty quick. And 20.46 in the 200-meter. So he is, he's going to be competing in the World Championships for his home country of Nigeria in the relays coming up. So, he's had a great career. He's made every NCAA championship meet that he was eligible for. I mean, he made himself eligible every meet, indoor and outdoor, since arriving on the campus at Middle. So that's a pretty decorated track athlete right there, and he was the last official Middle student athlete competing in this school year. So when his running day was over in Austin, Texas, that officially capped the athletic year at Middle Tennessee.
That's pretty impressive to be the last man standing on
That's
MTSU's
right.
campus from an athletic standpoint.
He didn't do much standing, though. He was
No,
running.
he was running. Yeah,
He was running, correct.
Chip, when we had you on last Tuesday, word had been distributed regarding the Lady Raider transfer from Florida International, Sifa Joyous, I guess. We learned
That's pretty close to what I said. I haven't had a chance to see her, but and ask her for sure. But that's what I went with.
Well, since then, because the best way to get some news is for us to go off the air, it was announced that 3 international forwards will also be joining Rick Ensel's bunch this coming season.
Yep, and so we're going to have fun with those names as well.
You're going to have fun with those names. All we got to do is spell them.
That's correct. And I'm looking here to go where I've got those right in front of me. There they are. Okay, here's our best guess. Yulia Grabovskaya, Stanislava Kabernik, and Dora Van Regis.
Hey,
thoughts?
Okay, here's the thing. Chip doesn't have to say those that often either.
No.
Good point.
He doesn't.
That's a good point.
So, we're all kind of in the same boat here. We're all just guessing as we go along.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
as
And
long as one of them doesn't win a Blue Raiders Choice Award, Chip, you ought to be okay.
There you go. And I did ask Mr. Palmer last night if he'd been practicing already with those names, getting ready. He goes, not yet. I don't need to just yet, but I will. He goes, I'll have them down when the time is right. So
they don't exactly roll off the tongue.
I would have needed to start last week to get them right by the time basketball season rolled around.
Yeah, exactly. But
Grandpa
they all have,
Skaya, a 6'5" forward.
Yeah.
Kaepernick is 6'1", a 6'1" forward with guard skills, and Van Rees, 6 foot. Played for the Hungarian national team. So
I mean, when's the last time middle women's basketball signed 3 that were 6 foot plus in one signing class? That's gonna. I think over the last 5 to 7, 8 years, it's been okay. When can we get some size? Well, you had some this past year, but now you add to that, you lose a 6-footer to the WNBA draft, but you gain 3 more plus the young lady from FIU. I think she's about 5'10", so 5'11", and so she, you're going to automatically become one of the biggest teams in the league. And from talking to Coach Ensel the other day, that this group is very skilled. So, and so that's a good combination to have, size and skill.
Yeah, they're going to look really good in the airport and on the court.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So that'll be an interesting one to watch. I stopped in yesterday, or actually I stopped in earlier today and just ran through and boys team camp is going on, and so with that, I think and I asked Coach Eric Wilson, because I've been seeing some pictures of some early morning workouts, and everybody is in town. All of the men's team is back in town for summer workouts, which that's a good thing. Letting Brandon Buskey, the strength coach, get his hands on them, and I mean they've been doing stuff that I wouldn't want to be doing, and B, at an hour I would not want to be doing it. So, but it's stuff that's going to make them stronger, and I noticed even the freshmen were out there as well as the transfers. So I think they like what they have, and they're still looking to fill one more spot. I know they had somebody in this week, and just waiting to see if they have filled that final spot or not. But they feel good about where they are and where they're going to be as far as the league is concerned. With of how they, with what went out the door is what came in the door. I think they feel pretty strong about that.
And what went out the door and came back in the door.
Well, there's that. That was a very nice piece to get back, and as expected, from what I've seen and heard, he just Elias King, is who we're talking about, has basically picked it up right where he left off, and is assuming a leadership role on this ball club, and that's good to see.
Chip, we are just over 2 weeks away from a new look Conference USA. Any thoughts on what this is going to do? Obviously, after the success of last year, how can Conference USA continue this momentum without those teams? Obviously being part of it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, just a couple of quick thoughts, and I'm thinking about the teams that are coming in. Liberty has been good in everything in the last few years, so you don't lose any ground whatsoever with them. You've got a Sam Houston team that that won, I think, and I don't quote me on this, but I think they won close to 40 games in baseball, but they won 24 in men's basketball this year. So that's a nice pickup. Jacksonville State is always really, really good in football.
Don't say that.
And they have been. And my boy Greg Seitz down there does a good job running that program and that department. And then New Mexico State is the real wild card because they're basically starting their basketball back from scratch. Football has had its ups and downs as well as the other sports. They've always been pretty good in baseball out there too. So, I think you're gonna lose FAU. It's going to be interesting to see how they follow up. They caught magic in a bottle this year, and were able to maximize it. And so it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back. And
they
also
lose nobody, and they keep their coach, so I think they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, they ought to be good. And then the teams that leave, the Americans getting some strong programs. I mean, UAB in football and basketball. I think about North Texas in basketball, Charlotte in basketball. They've got a very interesting new coach at Charlotte in football. That it'll be interesting to see what they do. FAU, obviously basketball this year has, they were a little bit down in football, but they've been solid in baseball. So, you're picking up, sometimes it may not be the biggest name that you're getting, but you're getting solid programs back into the league. I mean, you look at what Dallas Baptist did this year in baseball because they were a one-off in baseball, basically trying to offset the loss of Southern Miss in baseball, which DBU did not get to the super regional, but they did make the regional, and then of course Southern Miss in Tennessee came down to winner take all to the World Series. So it's going to be interesting to see, and I think a feeling out process and people just getting used to it. But I think there's going to be some excitement in particular in our area when you look at the basketball tournament being in Huntsville. I'd make a pitch right now to move the baseball tournament at some point to Toyota Park. I think, if the league thinks that Huntsville is a central location for basketball, why not do it for baseball at a great facility there, and still it's drivable by 5 of your schools easily. So I don't know. We'll see what they do. I think Louisiana Tech's going to get the baseball tournament in 2024, but then after that, I don't think they've assigned it anywhere.
And I don't know how long this is going to be. And again, East and West Texas are two different places to me.
They are.
The real world. How sustainable is one team per state? You can't keep that forever.
As far as,
I mean, it just feels like travel partner wise, it's rough because FIU is on an island. They're all on islands. Everybody's on an island.
Well, I mean, UTEP and New Mexico State are 45 minutes apart. Middle and Western are 90 minutes apart.
Sure.
Jacksonville State, who's going to be with them? Louisiana Tech and Sam Houston are probably going to end up being travel partners. So Liberty falls in there too. They're kind of on an island, as you mentioned. So I haven't seen the basketball schedule yet, but we'll be very interested to see how the league decides to work with that and who they try to put together.
Yes, it will be interesting. That's my big talking point for Conference USA. And then, of course, when Kennesaw rolls around, obviously Jacksonville and Kennesaw would be right there. So hopefully that works out.
Right.
But,
yeah,
Chip,
it may be that Jacksonville's on an island for a year, until Kennesaw comes in. and they kind of absorb that. So we'll see. And as we're continuing to see in headlines at whatever conference level, it's not over yet. So who knows?
It's a fluid situation.
It is a fluid situation. You're correct.
It's our favorite term from COVID. So, Chip, we appreciate it. We look forward to talking to you next week. And, man, enjoy getting through the summer.
There you go. Look forward to it.
All right, well, Mo, the weirdest and wildest news from across the world. I've got one this week that might be fun.
Okay, well,
Braves win?
Braves hold on to win 10-7, had the tying run at the plate.
Yes.
So before we get to Wild and Wacky, want to just mention Memphis University football standout and Arkansas commit Deion Stutz was killed last night in a ATV accident on his family farm down in Batesville, Mississippi, and just want to continue to send out our condolences to the MUS community and to the Stutz family on that. Just always so tragic when you hear of that type thing taking place, and just wanted to be sure that we mention that.
No question. Thoughts to the folks, and not just MUS, but also Arkansas. I mean, those coaches and had built a relationship with that kid and his family, so for sure. The weirdest and wildest news from across the world. Literally, we go to Poland, where, Mo, I'm sorry, but you can no longer go to hell on bus 666. It's not allowed anymore.
What about bus 666?
That's what I'm saying. On bus 666, you can't go to hell anymore.
I didn't hear the third six.
No,
My
yep.
bad. Okay.
The bus to the town of Hell on Poland's Baltic coast has long been popular with tourists, but some Christian conservatives have protested the number signifying the devil on the bus to a place that sounds like the word hell in English. The local operator announced this week that 666 will no longer go to hell. It has flipped the last number and will now be 669. Nice. So, yeah. Unfortunately, the local joke began in 2006 and has run since then, and it's phenomenal. I mean, well done. That's all I'm saying. Well done.
That's perfectly good sense.
Oh man, I hate that it's over. But if you want to go to hell on bus 666, you got to do it in the next week.
Hustle over to Poland.
Poland. That's right.
Not Portland.
That's
Poland.
right.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get out of here on this Wild and Wacky Wednesday. We will see you guys tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We've got Ryan McGee and Anthony Law who will join us. Mm-hmm. So should be fun. We'll see you guys then on Main Street Sports Today.